All right, good evening everyone and welcome to the LMC Media 40th Anniversary Gala. I'm Matt Sullivan, Executive Director of LMC, and I am certainly honored to be here with all of you this evening. While tonight is a night of celebration, we of course must acknowledge what's happening in our world today. Just before our event, our tri-municipal community held a candlelight vigil at Harbor Island in support of Israel. LMC Media was in attendance to record the event, and it will be made available shortly on all of our platforms. Our good friend, Rabbi Jeff Serkman, couldn't join us this evening, but he sends his regrets and these words. In the face of the tragic killing of nearly 1,000 Israeli men, women, children, babies, and the most elderly among them, at the hands of extremist Hamas terrorists, words fail us. But our hearts are crying out. We pause for a moment of silent remembrance. Thank you. I'd like to begin the festivities tonight by introducing a face and voice that many of you will recognize, and one that we're so lucky to have with us this evening. Ernie Anastas is a popular and celebrated New York Emmy Award-winning television news anchor and radio talk show host. He's the author of children's books, a New York Hall of Fame broadcaster, and has received more than 30 Emmy Awards and nominations during his illustrious career. His signature programs include Positively Ernie, heard every day on WABC Radio, and hosts his own nationally syndicated TV show, Positively America, now seen on 200 TV stations across the country, including Pix 11 here in New York. Ernie is a champion for positive and uplifting news, which we need in this day and age, with a commitment to inform, educate, and inspire his followers. He's happy to call Westchester his home with his family and many friends, and we're honored and delighted to have him with us tonight. Please welcome to the stage New York legend, Ernie Anastas.
I don't want you to go away. Get on this side over here.
All right.
That's great. You know, I'm so used to interviewing people, and it's so good to have you right here. Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you.
You have done an outstanding job, and I think a round of applause for Matt and the entire organization.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really amazing. How does it feel tonight? Tell us how you feel.
I feel privileged and honored, really, to be here, and in this theater in particular. This is a little kid's dream come true to be standing here in Mamaroneck Cinemas holding this award ceremony with people that we love, honor, and respect. You among those people,
Thank
Ernie,
you, Matt.
So we're pleased to be here.
It's a joy to be here. Thank you so much. Congratulations. This is wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. You know, this is like old home week, guys. I'm talking to so many people. You know, my wife and I raised our family in Larchmont. And when I think about the fond memories, I remember coming to this theater with the kids, Kelly, remember? And we would go downstairs and we'd have some popcorn and watch a movie. They have done an amazing job. Haven't they done an extraordinary job here? This is huge. And I love this theater. It's a masterpiece. I'm really happy to be here tonight, talking to so many people and sharing a lot of memories. I'm digressing for a moment, but we belong to the Shore Club. Let's hear it for the Shore Club in Larchmont. And a lot of people who were members and still are, and we had so many fond memories of having our children growing up there and looking at the beach and playing tennis and having fun. But the most important thing is that we're a sense of community, and that's what LMC is about. It's community. And when you talk to people, and I was talking to a lot of the students from Mamaroneck High School and Rhinebeck, and I'm hearing stories about how much they love what they do and love living here. And being part of a community, being part of a family, is the foundation for a lot of things. You're going to be hearing a lot of stories tonight, and I'm sharing a few with you. But I really want to congratulate everyone for an outstanding job in developing something that really can make a difference in people's lives. I'm also happy to be here tonight with two outstanding journalists. These are people who you recognize, who have tremendous credibility. They are anchors and they are correspondents for great organizations. Kate Snow with NBC. Kate. Erica Hill, CNN. Erica Hill. We're going to be hearing more from you later on, but it's an honor to be with two wonderful people who are outstanding. And you young people who are out there, just pay attention, because you're looking at people here who really know what they're doing and can be good mentors for you. Mentors are important. We need to look up to role models. Recently, I saw a survey asking a lot of young people, teenagers, who's your hero? I'll ask you the same question. Who is your hero? Who do you look up to? Who do you admire? Who has integrity? Do you know what the #1 answer was when they asked teenagers who their hero was? Can you guess? My parents. How nice is that? They said, my parents. This is someone that you trust, somebody that you honor. And I was very encouraged to hear that, because young people are important. I'll tell you what I mean. When I was growing up, I was about 11 years old, back in Nashua, New Hampshire, a little town in the southern border. And at 11 years old, I started a current events club in school. And I have a real strong feeling for teachers. Miss Goddard was my teacher, and she encouraged me. She said, you know, Ernest, she called me Ernest. She said, you're doing a nice job with this program. Just keep it up, because it's really something that you like. I can see it. And I was really encouraged by that. And then at 13 years old, I built a little radio station in my basement. A little, you know, makeshift booth. And I would go downstairs there with my buddies, and we would do radio shows. And I would, you know, announce the news. I would read stories, commercials, play records. And then we had a career day. I hope you're listening to this. We had a career day, and there were many people who came up there, and they were talking about, you know, whether you wanted to be a lawyer, a doctor, a bus operator, whatever it happened to be. And when it was over, I went upstairs to my homeroom teacher, Miss Evelyn Ryan. I'll never forget Miss Evelyn Ryan. And I said, Miss Ryan, how do you know what career to choose? I was 13 years old. And she used to call me Ernest as well. She said, Ernest, whatever you enjoy doing will be the avenue to your success. I'm 13 years old, and I said, what? What does that mean? She said, well, let me ask you something. She said, what do you like to do in your spare time? What do you do when you have free time? I said, oh, I've got a little radio station in the basement, and we play radio. She said, that's it. She said, that's exactly what you're going to do. She said, because that's your passion in life. That's what you believe in. And she was right. And those two teachers in particular left me with something that I carry with me today. Because when I go out and speak to a lot of young people in the New York area, a lot of kids that are trying to find out who they want to be as well, and I tell them that story. And when I ask them, what do you like to do? They light up. They'll talk about some sports activity, maybe art, painting, something. And then they start thinking about a career that could be related to that. And I feel as though that's my mission, to inspire people. One of the things I enjoy doing is being on the radio every day with positive stories. And I do the same thing with television. And why? It's the same reason that we're all here tonight. Because I look for reasons to unite rather than to divide. I mean, we live in such a divided society right now, a divided country, a divided world. Matt was saying a very special thing about what's been happening in our world in Israel. And our hearts go out to them, to the victims. And I'm sure you feel the same way. We need to change. We need leadership. We need people who believe that we can find solutions to problems and not to create more problems. And that's my mission, but it's also the mission of LMC. It's a tribute tonight. We're going to be hearing from a lot of remarkable people, educators, students, who are playing pivotal roles in helping our community. And these are the kinds of stories that we want to hear. 40th anniversary. I think a big round of applause for 40 years of doing outstanding work. Outstanding work. And we're going to talk about remembering, you know, the past and living in the present, but embracing the future. Because the future is always something that we look forward to. I love quotations. My wife is here tonight. She's an artist and a calligrapher, and many times I'll ask my wife, Kelly, you know, would you write this out for me? And today I was mentioning one on the air. I was talking with Joseph Aboud, a wonderful designer, men's fashion designer. And I said, Joseph, you remind me of a terrific quote. and it goes like this. Don't go where the path may lead. Go where there's no path and leave a trail. And I like that, because being a trailblazer means thinking out of the box, embracing the technology. Aurora, you were asking me earlier tonight, we were doing a short interview, and she said, what do you see for the future of media? And I said, I'm optimistic. I've always lived that way. I believe in looking to the good that we can expect, but we have to put in the time and energy to make it happen. And we do have that opportunity. You know, there are problems, there's a plus and a minus with every new piece of technology that we look at. Well, you know that, I don't have to explain it to you. But I try to look at it and say, how can we harness what we've been given, whether it's AI, which has become controversial in many ways, but it can also be a good thing. It depends on how we use it. It depends on how we use anything in life. You can use it in a good way and in a bad way. But I like to embrace the opportunity to say, let's look for ways that we can make the world better, how we can take technology, apply it to education and apply it to media so that we can help make our world better. Irma Bombeck had a terrific quote, and she said, when I die and I face God, I'm going to say, I have no talent left because I used everything that you gave me. And that's a great line, isn't it? So whether you're in communications or broadcasting or just a great human being, think about that. Everyone has an opportunity, all of us, because you have a gift, a special gift in your life, and you have to use it in some way to improve things and to be a symbol of some sort, to encourage people. I did an interview not too long ago with someone who was talking about life, and I remember she said to me, you know, when that time comes in your life, and I hope it's a long way from now for all of us, but she said, you know, you'll be thinking about one thing. You're going to say, who did I love and who loved me? That's simple. Not how many awards, not how much money, not how much fame, but who did I love and who loved me? And that's a simple message. And tonight we're here because of love. Love for what this organization stands for, LMC. And I'm proud and I'm happy to be part of it. And I know we're going to have a great night. I'm excited about it. I want to now bring up our community leaders and elected officials who are going to come forward to say a few words. But I welcome you all with a good heart, a good spirit, and let's make this thing happen, okay? Thank you so much. God bless you all. Come on up, folks. See, we need a little music here. Da, 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 da. How are you?
Steve Otis.
Come on up here, Steve.
Great
Good to see you, my friend.
Let's
okay.
have an extra round of applause for Ernie
Thank
Anastas.
you,
What a
Steve.
privilege to get him in longer time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
How much you've given us
Thank you,
for
Steve.
decades, educating and informing all of us. So this is a resource.
Thank you. It's
This
an
is
honor.
a resource.
It's an honor. Thank you, Steve. It's yours.
So, hello, everybody. I am thrilled to be here and really excited about singing the praises of LMC Media. And what I would say is something you already know, which is in Larchmont and Mamaroneck, we are so lucky to have this great resource because the reality is in most of the other communities in Westchester and around the state, public access television has withered, has not been supported by communities, and with the other thing that's going on, journalism, local journalism is taking a dive, unfortunately. And so what does a community have to know what's going on, to have the fabric of the community shared so that people can hear what's going on and to enjoy the activities and to know what your neighbors are doing, to know what the problems are, to challenge your local governments and those sorts of issues? You need media. And this is what LMC does, covering all the things that they do. We are so lucky. Where's Matt Sullivan? Matt, let's have a round of applause for Matt because he has been such a leader. So I'm just here to sing the praises and just realize, though, that we don't have this everywhere. We have it in Larchmont and Mamaroneck. Thank you for supporting this great endeavor. We need to keep it going. It's part of the fabric of our lives, and we are a fortunate community to have this resource. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm County Legislator Catherine Parker, and I am very thrilled to be here with LMC tonight, and I'm really happy to see so many of you here. Give yourselves a round of applause, because honestly, to see a full crowd of people here in support of LMC is so important. The work that happens to inform the community is not a small endeavor. It is a big endeavor. It is why many communities do not have the quality that LMC provides. It takes an awful lot of effort by a lot of people to make sure that you know of every school board meeting, that you know what's happening with your council, with the Board of Trustees, with all the organizations in the community. They are always there. LMC is always there making sure that you know what is happening. I said this last year, and I'm going to say it again. It is by far the best of the media organizations in Westchester County. You have a real gem, and I know that each and every one of you here has already made that contribution, and I thank you for that. But do it again, because they are getting pinched by, government just, federal government has certainly curtailed what you're getting, and there is good reason why, if you can, do it again. It is so, so important. Thank you.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tom Murphy. I'm privileged to be the mayor of the village of Mamaroneck. LMC is integral to having these three communities function, to knitting them together, to making us feel like we are neighbors, friends, and people who look out for one another, which is what we are. They've been doing it for 40 years. I've been privileged in my public service for 22 years to either have been a member of the Board of Control or a member of the LMC-TV board in the time I wasn't in elective office, because I truly believe in this organization. As Mr. Anastas was saying before, we need local media. We have a dearth of it. When I first started in elected office in 2001, at a Board of Trustees meeting, there would be 3 or 4 print reporters sitting in the front row. And there'd be an article in the Journal News the next day. There'd be an article in within the next week in the 2 weeklies, and stuff was covered. I haven't seen a reporter at a Board of Trustees meeting or a town council meeting in, I don't know, way over 10, 15 years. But LMC-TV is there at every meeting. And they bring that information into your home. And in the village of Mamaroneck, we've taken great advantage of that, and we televise our zoning board and planning board and the Board of Trustees work sessions, so you can see how the sausage is made. And that's always not, it isn't always appetizing, but it's important that people see it. I just want to point out that there's an extremely important member of the LMC-TV family who's not here tonight. Dina Schumacher is in labor. And Dina and Matt have really built something important here. And before them, everybody who's worked at LMC-TV, and everybody who's been on the boards of LMC-TV have really, protected this and kept it growing from, just a playback system to like a real media center. And in the last 10 years, Matt and Dina have been the center of that. They've been the Batman and Robin of LMC-TV. And they've really, helped the community. And when we were going through COVID, when we were going through the floods, Matt and Dina would call us, what do you need? How can we help? How can we get the story out? What information do your residents need? And they helped us get that information out. And without them, our hands would be tied. And so the 3 communities, the 3 municipalities, have to keep supporting LMC-TV. It's integral to their survival. And it's also integral to good government. We can't have good government if you don't know what's going on. And please, as Catherine says, be generous with your wallets, but also we're going to have to in the future think about being generous with our municipal funds. And there'll be pushback against that. But when you watch what's going on here tonight and you really see what they've done for 40 years, know that it's worth it. And there's always going to be pushback from spending municipal dollars, right? But you have to do the valuation. And the valuation is the people's right to know. And they provide the people's right to know. So congratulations to 40 years of LMC-TV. God bless you. And for all of us who have been affected by what has gone on, the tragedy in the Middle East, in Israel in the past few days, this is something that we'll have to deal with, and we'll have to deal with it as a community. And LMC-TV televising the vigil that we had tonight, even though they had to put this on, was extraordinary, and you went above and beyond the call of duty once again. And I thank you, and I thank you all for coming here and supporting our friends at LMC-TV.
I really just want to thank LMC and Matt, because I think you're always there when we need you, and you chronicle the lives of the community and all of the events. And the perfect example is this vigil. I was organizing this vigil for Israel, and I spent 3 whole days doing nothing but that. And the first person I called, but maybe not the first person, was Matt. And I said, Matt, we're doing this vigil, and I know it stressed him out because it was right before this event. And I said, I know it's his busiest day of the year, and it's his most important thing to do. And I called him up and I said, Matt, we need you. And he goes, I don't even know if I have a person, because everybody was working on this. But somehow, when that event started, there was someone from LMC, a videographer, who chronicled the event and he just came to the rescue. And now we had about 350 people there, and now hundreds more can see it on LMC and all their platforms, and it just exemplifies what you do. And for Matt and Sonny, I'll say that you're the ties that bind. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Post. I'm the deputy mayor in the village of Larchmont. And the great thing about going last is I could just echo what everyone said and make my speech very short. We want to congratulate LMC for its 40-year anniversary. Through your history, you have allowed residents to share joyous moments with live broadcasts, graduations, parades, festivals, and sporting events. And you've supported young filmmakers, which are here, and given them an outlet for their creativity and opportunities to experience the joys of filmmaking. I want to extend a congratulations to all of the honorees tonight, all 9 of you. What you accomplished was amazing. I can't wait to see the films. And LMC has done this through a very small, committed staff, which consists of volunteers, interns, and paid employees. So everyone at LMC, congratulations. We wish you the best for another 40 years, and we have a proclamation waiting for you that today is actually LMC Media Day. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
In a world where screens we interact with are seemingly endless, sorry, we're in a movie theater. I lost my train of thought. In a world where the screens we interact with are seemingly endless and the information we consume is ceaselessly abundant, the influence of media education has never been more profound. When we stood in this theater last year, we tried to answer the question why so many of today's media leaders hail from Larchmont and Mamaroneck. The answer we found was both in the school systems here, as well as the media education and opportunities provided by LMC Media over the past 40 years. It was a natural segue then to focus this year's gala on honoring those whose contributions in the classroom have helped define tomorrow's media landscape. Shaping Voices is a film that tracks the media education journey of our community. It sheds light on the trailblazers whose insight into this medium would prove pivotal roles in shaping the collective narrative of our community, all the while paving the road for current educators to share their unique experiences and teaching styles with the media makers of tomorrow. I'd like to thank my co-producer on this, who's currently in labor, Dina Schumacher. Thank you, Dina. I was hoping you would be watching, and knowing Dina, she probably has her cell phone while she's on the We're certainly excited to hear the good news in a little while. And we also have some good news that we want to share, which is that Dina has won a very prestigious honor from her colleagues at the Alliance for Community Media Northeast Region, where she's been granted the Brian Wilson Mentor Award, which is just wonderful news and well-deserved. So congrats, Dina. You know, Dina really had the initiative to launch the Future Filmmaker Project, which is a great program that we hope to grow over the years, and we're going to see our students here who are all part of that tonight in the film we're about to watch. I also want to thank our film cinematographer, Sal Civarello, who's here with us, editor Don Thiel, and the rest of our crew and subjects for allowing us to present this film to all of you this evening. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Shaping Voices.
I think the Mamaroneck community in general was always welcoming to the arts. They had a track record of supporting programs that were rich in literature and film. Murray Avenue School had a closed-circuit television newscast completely run by students with parent volunteers, and it was 1966. And in fact, it was so well known that it was featured on the Today Show.
Yesterday, I visited the quiet suburban community of Larchmont.
The Murray Avenue School TV studio and their newscast was one of the first examples of television utilization in the elementary school in the country. The book is called Children of Telstar, Telstar being the first satellite that went up in the 1960s that sort of marked the beginning of a whole new communications age. And the author is Kate Moody, who was a local historian, lived in Mamaroneck and Larchmont, and wrote a whole story about early experimentation in television, and it was all about Mamaroneck schools. It continued in junior high and Hommock School with Charles Fitch teaching television and photography. It continued in Mamaroneck High School with me teaching television production, and then the PACE program, which brought more creative students into television production. And then the video club, which allowed students who were not in a class to learn something about television and make their own television. And now LMC Media, continuing the same program of teaching people about television and new media, not just by reading about it, but by making it.
I came in 1974 to Mamaroneck High School, and it was like culture shock, because at that time, media was everything there. There was a TV studio, there was a TV in every classroom. We had a morning show where kids were reporting the news.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to MHS Info.
This year, Mamaroneck High School was truly off the wall.
MHS Info is kind of an icon in the community. It's been around since, I believe, the 70s.
We got together with other students in the class. We designed a set. We built the set into the corner of the studio, and that became MHS Info. Because it was seen every morning and because it was seen in every classroom, it did inform people and it did bring people together. It's still in production today, all these years later.
So I have a great group of students, and we run it as a club. So we meet like twice a week, and we plan the show, and we're literally running around all the time making content, and it's a little stressful and crazy. The kids love it. They love producing the content. It seems to be popular for people who watch it.
Good morning, MHS. I'm Gretchen Barnard.
And I'm Saul Lusek.
And you're watching MHS Info.
You know, it's announcements, it's highlights of what happened during the week, it's recaps, highlight reels, but it's also entertainment.
Let's not forget you guys had to drive me here today.
We are allowed to be like kind of funny and cheeky, and we can be serious when we want to be serious. So I think we've been allowed to create like our own sort of atmosphere with it, which is really nice.
What is your name? Tuesday.
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's student run. I just think it really reflects the school culture.
Every single person is integral to the info team, which is so, so cool. You have people that are working on scripts, you have people that are recording, you have people that are doing sound, you have the anchors. Every single person has value, and every single person has a spot.
The history of the program had been primarily, I think, focused on television and amazing things with MHS Info and the evolution of that studio. I came in and wanted to have more of a single camera focus. While we still did MHS Info and we did some work in the studio, we did less multicam and we started doing more short films, storytelling. I mean, we did social issues projects, we did documentary. Students were either their subjects was a person and telling that story and the work that that person did or the passion in their lives, or sort of highlighting events or experiences that were happening. In terms of filmmaking, especially in the time we're living in now and the fact that we can't take everything at face value, that it's even more essential that students create true, honest stories that just reflect the world around them, even if they're not the prettiest stories, right? The truth is not necessarily good or bad, it's just the truth.
Well, most recently, I think the pandemic highlighted just how important technology and the use of media is in education.
I think so much of media education now is not just production, but consuming it in a formal setting and with a critical eye.
I want to teach film my way. I don't want to teach it as complementing a book. I want to teach it as an art. And so I created this course called The Art of Film. And the course became so popular that teachers took it. The most important thing that I could do for these kids is not show them a movie every day. It was my responsibility that they're going to college. They have to write, they have to read, they have to think, they have to analyze. I mean, the easiest art form in the world is film. All you do is just sit back and you let it flow over you. In this class, you have to sit up even when you're watching film, because great filmmakers still want you to engage.
A video right now is something that's consumed by literally everybody. Like from the time you wake up in the morning, there's a screen in your face with a video on it. So I feel like one of my jobs is to remind students that, like, even though there's so much out there and they have to kind of sift through it, that the storytelling and the human connection is always going to be the most important part of it.
It's the media world that we live in. It's the electronic age that we live in. And you've got to know something about that age and how it affects you.
This is the way people are communicating now. They're communicating through short videos. I think there's a responsibility there for them to learn the right way to do things, because if they are going to use this medium, then hopefully we can teach them or show them the right way to do it so that they can use it in a positive way.
It always felt very daunting to go into film. It's like big cameras, big scary lights, so many people. And I think just seeing like the senior film and seeing how kids that were just a little bit older than me could create an entire like cohesive story and make it look so good, and it was so exciting. And I think that just made me want to try it myself.
The big difference between media education in Mamaroneck and other courses is it's learning by doing. It's the process that's important, and the students are engaged in that process.
I have learned so much at the high school. I have learned to edit, I have learned to film, I have learned to make like various types of films, like documentaries, news stories, and I'm on MHS Info, so now I know how to anchor and I know how to make like quick, fun segments that people will enjoy. So without that education, I wouldn't have that passion I have today.
There's a really interesting combination of knowing technology and understanding how to use technology, and then the creative aspect and storytelling. And I think that's what surprises me every day that I'm teaching, is how those two things come together.
My priority in the projects that I teach and the things that we do is about creating content that has a narrative or a story. To me, story in a short film is paramount. The technology is going to keep changing. What's paramount is the content they create and how to create good content.
I think when the focus shifted to more single camera production and storytelling, students started to think of themselves more as artists, and to think of yourself as an artist, you've got to sort of think about who you are as a person and your humanity and the world around you. We're really lucky as media educators that we get to see a side of kids that they don't often get to show in the academics. We're free, you know, the kids are very free in our class to think about what they're learning in a different way and to demonstrate what they've learned in a very different way.
As young creatives, I feel it's so important to have an outlet and a way to express your ideas and opinions through filmmaking.
I think the coolest part about the video program that was so enticing to me was how much of yourself you were able to put into the projects. With every new project that you were given, it was sort of a new opportunity to just explore your interests and sort of what kind of things you want to see out in the world. And so it was a really cool way to get to know myself, but then also the people that I've been going to school with for years now.
I always urge my students to work in groups, and most of the projects they're required to for a few reasons. I think it's important that they have other people's opinions and they don't just close themselves off to what they think is good or what they think is the right way to do something. It just creates a good creative environment where they can share ideas. But if you stop at a certain point and then we switch the angle of the camera, that will forgive that jump cut.
I don't know of many other communities that have something like LMC Media as a partner with the school district like we do.
I adore the partnership with LMC and the opportunities that it's provided for our students to really kind of explore the careers, the possibilities, and just, develop their passion and discover their interests in many cases.
What's great for students is it's not a school setting, so it's a very different environment. It's a real environment. They're doing real world. They're not getting a grade. They're doing it on their own time because they want to. Or if it's a paid job, that's even a more authentic experience for them.
Working with LMC has been really formative in my own creative style, I would say, especially with the Future Filmmakers project.
Through the Future Filmmaker program, I was forced to kind of like venture out into my community and find beautiful things. Like I found this little pathway into the forest over the water that I used in one of my films. It gave me a reason to make films, not just for myself, but for people to see. And I mean, the point of a film is to show it to people and to let people have a little bit of a window into you and into your world, or into the character's world even. And that was something that was really freeing to get to do.
Oftentimes students struggle to see the connection between what they're learning in the classroom and how it is going to be relevant in their current or future lives. I think that media education is one way where students immediately see the connection between what they're learning and their lives.
Some of the things that we talk about and the things that we learn in media classes are the kinds of things that stick with kids.
Even if you're not going into that specific field, what you're learning and the skills that you develop is essential to whatever you do, I think.
The planning and pre-production process of filmmaking, it really applies to so many other fields. Students will tell me, filmmaking made me organized. Filmmaking made me actually plan stuff out that, you take for granted it's going to be easy, and it never is. So many of them comment that they learn how to work with other people. So that's, I think, something that we all kind of need to learn at some point if we want jobs in any field.
I think about when they leave my class, I always said I'd rather you be ready to go out into the world as a human being and as a young adult than as a great filmmaker. That if you learn about yourself and the kind of world you want to live in and the kinds of things you want to see and what you want to put out into the world, that's more important in a way than the films, because you are the films. You are, the stories are told through you and who you are.
I believe that media education is essential in schools right now, just because that's the future.
The video program is so important to have in a high school, and the MHS video program is so important because it connects so many different types of art and media into one. The amount of different people who are in my video class and get to meet each other, and I've made so many good friends through MHS Info and through the video program. It's just such a diverse experience in all ways.
To just get to this classroom and be okay, this is my place, these are my people. It was just a really welcoming atmosphere, and it made school worth going to for me.
It is a community. It is a community that I think kids feel proud to be a part of. It doesn't happen right away, but they recognize it at some part that they're like the video class, the video program is seen by the school as this little community within MHS.
When we talk about media education, media literacy, it is really at the forefront of what we're doing.
When I used to tell friends and what we were doing at Mamaroneck, they couldn't believe it. That this was quite amazing that we did all of that. This is what a modern high school should be doing.
The greater community, I think, would really benefit by embracing LMC Media and seeing how unique it is and how creative it is and how it can kind of unite the whole community, as well as give a voice to the people who don't normally have voices in the community.
We've gotten so much support from LMC, has given that outlet for our students in our community so that they can showcase their talents.
I mean, anytime one of my students is successful beyond my classroom, it's like the best feeling. It's just this school, I think, did a really good job with setting up this program, and students really take advantage of it and appreciate it.
High school is a place where you're supposed to be obviously learning, but also figuring out who you are and what you want to do and the people that you want to surround yourself with. And the arts, especially at Mamaroneck High School, are such a welcoming place, and the sense of community is so strong. Like, it would be a different school without having the arts, and especially without having the video program.
I think my greatest achievement is seeing the growth and development of LMC Media, and hopefully its continuation with a firm financial commitment in the future.
Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed the film. We'll keep things moving along here, and it is my honor to welcome to the stage one of the founders of LMC, a prior president, and someone whose name says everything about her, Miss Sunny Goldberg.
I want to go to that school. We're from Missouri, and we didn't know about cable or video or anything, and what a terrific movie and video that you guys did. I am President Emeritus of LMC Media, and I am so happy that the board chose to name the digital archive after Frank Light. He was the most wonderful man and a pioneer. Probably about 42 years ago, he and Mike and several other people started something before most of you were born, called CCC, Community Connection. And they went out and tried to bring video and cable to this area. Frank was in television, this warm, wonderful man, and he was able to negotiate and talk, and he insisted that this should be a tri-municipal organization. And just like Ernie said, he wanted it to be a community that supported one another, knew one another, and were united, and we were going to get information for all of us. Frank Light was unassuming, quiet, lovely man. As a matter of fact, his wife Dorothy and my husband Brad probably knew that I had a very small crush on him, but he would walk in and he didn't have to say anything. He just was this major, loving, kind individual who knew how to communicate and get things done. When talking to UA Columbia, people that we were terrified, Frank would walk out with a smile on his face. So I am so happy that they are honoring him by the digital archive. Frank would love that because everybody in this community can use it, get on it, and that's what he was all about, community and bringing us together. So thank you, Frank, and boy, we miss you. And now I want to bring up his son, Steve Light, who is a community member a friend and neighbor, and a business owner in the village.
Thank you, Sonny.
Nice.
Well, I can let you know that if Sonny having a crush on my dad is part of his legacy, that's fantastic. On behalf of my wife, Tricia, my sister-in-law, Catherine, my brother, Josh, and myself, I really want to thank LMC Media for this honor of my dad. My dad, by the way, was a man of few words, and I realize I'm the last one to speak before dinner, so I'm going to get this over quickly. But he bet on winners. He was very involved in early television. He was passionate and early involved in public television and also community television. He knew what was important. That's where he invested his time. And he would be thrilled to see where LMC Media is today, and very proud that the future is continuing. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Good night.
It's my honor to welcome to the stage our Westchester County Executive, Mr. George Latimer.
Thank you very much, Matt. I almost had my Dick Van Dyke moment there. It's a great honor to be here for the 40th anniversary of LMC. I was not there originally at the beginning, but I do remember the 10th anniversary, so I'm giving a little bit of a dating myself. But what I've had the opportunity to see over the years, because I have in my responsibilities moved from Larchmont, Mamaroneck, and Rye to across the county, is how many other communities wanted to do what you've achieved in Larchmont and Mamaroneck. The level of professionalism, the programming, the fact that young people came and got a first taste of media that allowed them to go on to have professional success in this world. I'll watch an Oscar program and I'll see a Larchmont or Mamaroneck person that had a taste of it back at LMC days and now being recognized by the industry. It has also been filled an important gap, and I think we can all appreciate it, that local media in general is weaker today than it was before. The daily newspapers, the radio stations that I recall 40 years ago are either not here today or not reaching the same amount of people. What LMC has done is provided that village green, that community square for everybody in these three communities. So I've had great respect for the work that's been done here. Great respect for Frank Light, and of course his son Steve's a good friend of mine, but as we do remember Frank, and then also the two Mikes that are being honored as well, Mike Witsch particularly, because he's interviewed me more than once, giving me hard questions, and I didn't really want hard questions, Mike, but that's okay, it's all forgotten now. And it's a great celebration, and I must say, it's a great celebration to have it in this cinema. Doesn't it feel wonderful to be at a venue like this in Mamaroneck, and Mamaroneck comes alive on this avenue that once was not as alive. So it's an honor to be here. Congratulations on 40 years. I hope I'll be around for the next 40. Thanks. And it's now my pleasure to introduce to the stage Erica Hill.
Good evening. I'm Erica Hill. It is such a treat to be here tonight. I'm an anchor and a correspondent at CNN. I'm a really proud resident of Larchmont and this community. And so when LMC reached out and asked if I would help, I was thrilled to say yes. It really is a privilege and an honor to stand before you tonight as we recognize the dedication, the creativity, and the hard work that our honorees have really poured into their cinematic endeavors. We're talking about the future filmmakers who you will be watching from tonight on, I have no doubt, for decades. They are the future of our media landscape. They're our student filmmakers. The world of filmmaking itself it's a tapestry of storytelling. It's a medium through which we can explore the depths of human emotion, inspire change, and challenge the status quo. Student filmmakers embody the very essence of this art form. They're the voices of a new generation. They're armed with fresh perspectives and innovative approaches to their craft. Tonight, we not only celebrate their achievements, but we also acknowledge the impact of their work. In today's fast-paced world where it seems your attention span may dwindle by the minute or perhaps even the second, these young filmmakers have managed to capture our hearts and minds with their stories. They make us laugh, cry, think, and question the world around us. And then sometimes your paper sticks together. There we go. Their films have a power. They have a power to bridge gaps, they can break barriers, and they can ignite conversations that matter. Throughout the year, these budding auteurs have all been accepted into LMC Media's inaugural Future Filmmaker Project. You saw a little bit of that in that video. And they remind us of the importance of nurturing creativity, of providing opportunities for young voices to be heard. They are trailblazers of the next generation, and it is a privilege to support and encourage them on this creative journey. So I hope you will give a whole lot of applause. Feel free to yell, stand up, stomp your feet. Remember when you first met them, because someday you can say, I knew them when, back at the Mamaroneck Cinema. Our honorees this evening, Sara Ettinger, Bella Pianko, Gretchen Barnard, and Nate Greven. Please come on up to accept your awards. Congratulations, and remember, you were here on the night when it all began. It is now my honor to introduce my dear friend, Kate Snow.
I don't know about you guys, I was getting really comfortable in my chair. Has anybody else tried pushing the button and starting to go back? Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Kate Snow. Just as Erica said, I'm honored to be here. I actually am also a resident of Larchmont. My kids went to Mamaroneck High School, and so I'm particularly proud to be presenting this next honor. Our next honorees are three exceptional individuals who have devoted their careers to shaping the minds and the talents of aspiring media makers and journalists. These honorees have not only been educators, but also mentors and guiding lights and inspirations to countless students who've walked through their classrooms. And tonight, we gather to honor their unwavering commitment and dedication. Media in all of its forms has the power to inform, to inspire, to ignite change. It's a force that shapes our perceptions, it sparks our imaginations, and reflects the world in all of its complexity. And behind the scenes of every great media production, there are educators who have imparted their knowledge and nurtured the creativity and instilled a passion for storytelling. Our honorees tonight have not only shared their expertise, but they have instilled in these students a deep appreciation for the power and the responsibility that comes with being a media maker. Their commitment to their students extends far beyond the classroom, frankly. They have provided guidance and mentorship and a safe space for their students to explore, as you saw in that video, to make and be creative. In a world where media is continuously evolving, these educators have not only kept pace with the latest trends and technologies, but they've also inspired their students to be innovators and leaders and change makers in the field. They've taught not just the technical skills, but the values of integrity, of ethics and responsibility that are essential, I promise you, for media professionals. Our first honoree educated young filmmakers at Mamaroneck High School from 2008 to 2020. She now owns her own production company in New York City, working with individuals and organizations to implement mission-driven change through visual storytelling. Recent partnerships include the Arthur Miller Foundation, the New York City Department of Education, Girls Inc. of New York City, and Safe Horizon. She continues to mentor and employ MHS graduates, how cool is that, who have gone on to pursue careers in media. Our first Distinguished Media Educator Award goes to Emily Dombroff.
Thank you, Kate. I was watching that film and realizing I think it would have been hard to come into Mamaroneck right after Mike Witsch retired, but there was actually about 6 years in between when Mike Witsch retired and I came, and there were 3 teachers in those 6 or 7 years. So there were pretty high expectations for me when I got there, and a lot of what I was asked to do was pretty new. And the 2 people I really think of that supported me and helped me when I first got there were Dina Schumacher and Matt Sullivan. They provided a roadmap for working in the TV studio, which was a shared space then. They were just a phone call away to troubleshoot, and they were always there if I needed them. I remember volunteering with Sharon Latimer-Mosley on her shows in the evening at LMC just to learn more about TV production, and she welcomed me with open arms. I direct a lot of multicam work and live stream work now, and I'm so grateful to all of you for that support. I'm also grateful to some students who showed up tonight that I haven't seen in many years, some of whom you saw in that video. And the main thing I took away from being a teacher at Mamaroneck, and I continue to practice in the work that I do now, is that relationships are everything. And LMC exemplifies this in all that they do, from their incredible hardworking staff, the volunteers, and the community that they support. They really value people. Thank you to Francille, who I actually knew from her time at the Picture House and who I know is also a value add to LMC. That's it. I'm just really grateful to be connected to this community still, and thank you for having me here tonight.
Congratulations, Emily. Our second honoree started his teaching career back in 1997 in New York City, public schools there. And he's been teaching at Rhinebeck High School since 2000. He teaches various levels of video production courses, as well as film appreciation, screenwriting, and computer design courses as well. In addition to teaching classes, he serves as the district's AV coordinator, in which he records and produces concerts, theater performances, graduation ceremonies, and other events throughout the Rhinebeck district, which are aired and streamed where? On LMC Media. He currently resides in White Plains with his wife and 3 sons. Our Distinguished Media Educator Award goes to David Golden.
Wow. Sarah Mosley's here. Hey, Sarah. Haven't seen you in years. Well, thank you for this honor. When I started teaching here at Rhinebeck 23 years ago, I wasn't very familiar with the Larchmont Mamaroneck community. I had heard that the school districts were highly regarded and that Sal's Pizza was one of the best around. But I had no idea how close-knit the community was and how much it valued public service organizations such as LMC Media. Recent flooding is an example of how this community comes together in times of crisis. I soon came to realize how truly lucky I was to be part of this community. Therefore, there are some acknowledgements I would like to make. To the municipality for recognizing the importance of community organizations such as LMC Media and continuing to support them. To LMC Media for providing so many opportunities and resources to our students and residents. To the school administrations for supporting the visual arts programs in our schools. During my tenure at Rhinebeck, I have been fortunate enough to work under some really inspiring leaders, superintendents such as Dr. Mustick, Dr. Ferraro, Dr. Latinsky, and principals such as Dr. Wilson, who you saw in the video, Dr. Barker, and longtime teacher and current principal, Melinda Falchetti, who has only been here for a few months now, and she's already made some really positive impacts on the students and staff. As well as past and present colleagues in our arts department and throughout the district, all of whom have valued our video program and supported its budget. To my family for understanding how important I value my job and my role to this community, especially those times when I have to work extra hours recording and editing programs for the district. To the parents for appreciating the importance of our program and supporting our school budgets. And of course to the students, some of whom are here this evening, for making my job fun and letting me be a part of their creative process and trusting me to help bring your ideas to life. Finally, I just want to say that with the recent events in the last couple of years, if they've taught us anything, it's that we shouldn't wait to do something that we're really passionate about. If you have an idea for a program, a film, or any other media content, make it happen. The schools, teachers, and organizations such as LMC Media are here to help your vision become a reality. Thank you.
Congratulations, David. Our final Distinguished Educator honoree is someone I actually know because she taught my son in 11th grade. So our final Distinguished Educator honoree is the current video production teacher at Mamaroneck High School, where she previously taught creative writing and English language arts for 9 years. She has directed and produced several documentaries and is currently developing a docuseries. At Mamaroneck High School, she continues to produce the weekly TV show known as MHS Info that you saw in the video. In addition to teaching all levels of a 4-year video program that prepares students for careers in communication and film. The highlight of her career at MHS has been mentoring future filmmakers to find their voices and their stories, and to foster their deep appreciation for film. Our third Distinguished Educator Award goes to Elena Elmoznino.
Hopefully I don't have popcorn in my throat because I was eating a little too much popcorn. That documentary actually triggered some PTSD from last year because there were some shots from the senior film, and I think I texted Matt and probably Dina, I don't know how many times, to borrow that gimbal. So I think the gimbal actually wins an award. It was featured heavily, right, Sarah? So I just want to say thank you to LMC Media for this honor, and especially to Matt and Dina for, in addition to responding to my texts at all hours, for emergency backup equipment, for just being there to collaborate so much with really any of my students who are willing to get involved with LMC, or even just borrow equipment at the last minute. They're so flexible and available. We're just so lucky to live in a community that values the arts. But we're even more lucky to live in a community that at the center has a vital organization like LMC that connects community members through stories. I'd also like to thank my predecessors who are here tonight, some of whom are here tonight, for creating and maintaining and evolving the video program into such a robust community of young filmmakers. Thank you to Mike Witsch for laying that groundwork for a program that has withstood the test of time. And I'd like to especially thank Emily Dombroff for mentoring me into this new position during COVID. So my first class, my students were little squares on a screen, and I was like, how am I going to teach video production through a screen? So I would email her and call her, and she would help me adapt lessons. And that particular group, some of the students are here tonight who had to see me through a screen, and they stuck it through instead of dropping, which I appreciate you for not dropping video. But it was a tough introduction to teaching this medium, and she was just there for any and all stupid questions that I had. So thank you, Emily. And also you just handed over the reins to a program that the emphasis on human stories was at the center of the curriculum, so I just hope that I'm still honoring that tradition and keeping that moving forward. I've been incredibly fortunate to have some of the most hardworking students, talented, dedicated people in the short time that I've been teaching video. It's only my 4th year. So really I share this award with my past, present, and future students. So thank you everybody for this honor.
Congratulations, Elena. Let's have one more round of applause for all three.
All right. Well, for the final part of our evening, we are going to honor our Lifetime Achievement Awards. And to kick things off, we have a little video message from a gentleman named Fred from LA. You may know him, you may know his films. La La Land, if that rings a bell. Fred Berger.
Hi, everybody. My name is Fred Berger, class of '99. I'm so sorry I can't be there tonight, but I'm honored to be able to talk about one of my favorite people in the world. Someone who had a tremendous impact on me and changed the course of my life. In fact, I can't be there because I live in Los Angeles now, where I work as a film and TV producer, thanks in large part to our very own Dr. DiGennaro, or Dij as we always called him. When people ask me how I got into producing, my story always begins with Mamaroneck High School, with Mike Witsch's video class, congrats to you, Mike, with LMC-TV, and critically with Dr. DiGennaro and his art of film class. Only in hindsight do we realize how formative these years are and how lucky we were to even have those opportunities. Yet, at the time, if I dared utter my dream to make movies for a living, I constantly heard the same thing. Are you sure? It's so hard. Have you considered entertainment law? But Dij made me believe it was possible. He armed me with the confidence to defy conventional wisdom and chase that dream. And now I get to live that dream. It's safe to say that La La Land or any of my other movies would not exist without Dr. DiGennaro. So if you don't like them, you can blame him. But what makes Dij so special, so singular? First of all, it's his capacity to make every student, kid or adult alike, lean in. I saw it firsthand traveling from class to class with the same group of students, and the exact same kids who would hide or fall asleep in the other class suddenly were rushing to raise their hands in Dij's class. Why? It felt like a magic trick. Not exactly sure, but I know this. He never lectured. He asked questions. He never spoon-fed. He pushed us. He challenged us. He didn't beg to be liked. Sometimes he even made fun of us because he was funny and never boring. His class was exciting because it was hard. And it wasn't just his style. He opened up a kind of new world. He made us understand art, books, movies weren't something to let wash over you as pure entertainment or as a passive experience. He showed us that they were this kind of secret coded treasure map. There were these messages that the authors and filmmakers were trying to convey, and if only we had the tools, we could hear and engage with them in a completely new way. He gave us the code to crack all those great works, and suddenly they all came alive. I know it sounds saccharine, but it felt like a new world had opened up to us, and it was incredibly exciting. No one was more excited than Dr. DiGennaro. No matter how many times he taught Hemingway or Hitchcock, it felt like he was discovering these masters for the first time alongside us. And that ultimately is his true gift. He is so passionate about what he does. He loves the stories that he shares with us. And that passion is contagious. I can remember so vividly him telling us about the first time he saw Goodfellas and had to rush back into the theater to see it again. Or his theory on Hitchcock's The Birds, all representing love. I don't know if it's true, but it made me want to have my own theories about every movie I watched. Or when he saw Election and Rushmore in the same weekend and declared a dawn of new American cinema. Suddenly we were all rushing out to see these movies and devouring other movies and books. That was the gift he gave us. His passion became our addiction and our obsession. Not only if we went into the creative arts as a career, everybody who graced his classroom left with a little dose of his joy for storytelling. Scorsese says, movies touch our hearts, awaken our vision, and change the way we see things. They take us to other places and open our doors and minds. Well, Mike, that's exactly what you did for all of us. Like a great movie, your work will endure the test of time. It's already enshrined in celluloid and inscribed in pages, and it's reflected in the curiosity that you've sparked in every student that passed through your classroom. Now, too often we don't get to say thank you to the people who changed our lives, which is sad. Teachers most of all, which is why I'm so grateful to be able to say to you, Mike, tonight, on behalf of everyone you inspired or challenged or simply spared from a little bit of boredom every week, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And congratulations. Take a bow. You've earned it, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Dr. Michael DiGennaro.
After that talk by Fred, do I have to say anything? Anyway, thank you, Fred, wherever you are in cyberspace, for your kind and generous words. At this time in my life, fond memories from a former student are really music to my ears. I also want to thank Max Sullivan and his staff at LMC Media for this Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm both humbled and skeptical as to whether I deserve it, I was neither a teacher of media nor someone who ever studied it, like my fellow honorees. Watching the video and seeing the awards presented to the young filmmakers and the distinguished leaders, I really feel like now I know why Matt said you represent the past, because I really am part of a different generation. And so the things that I'm going to tell you tonight, you have to kind of remember that if I were today, you know, a high school student, I would love to be in any of these classes, because that's what I wanted to do my whole life. But in my time, we just didn't have any of that. And so this is, you know, you've got to kind of remember that I truly am part of a different time. Anyway, when I began teaching here in 1974, that's almost 50 years ago, before the days of VCRs and DVDs and streaming, the hallways of the high school were crowded with kids operating Super 8 cameras and pushing carts carrying 16mm projectors. Even back then, the school was a beehive of media activity, something I hadn't seen a trace of in the 2 universities and 3 secondary schools where I had previously taught. For me, it was culture shock, as I had said in the video. Like most English teachers, I had relied on media strictly to enhance the teaching of literature. But without the supportive expertise of Mike Witsch, our media guru back then, even that would have been impossible. There's an indelible memory of Mike that I have in my mind that goes back to that time when we English teachers would try to show a film and something would always go wrong with the projector, and Mike would come to the rescue, and he was always smiling as he fixed things. And I kept wondering, why is he smiling so much, considering the fact that we were all so inept? I never asked him why, and I guess I'm afraid to even know. However, in 1991, I did take the plunge and with my own large screen projector, created a course called The Art of Film, which wasn't about making movies, but rather on how to watch them, beyond the vicarious excitement one feels while sitting in a darkened theater. It was designed to turn teenage film buffs into discriminating viewers who might learn to appreciate how all facets of making a film, from storyboarding to types of shots and editing styles, as well as cinematography, could be studied in order to understand not only what directors were trying to say, but how they achieved that meaning. Yes, there was a lot of analysis, critical and creative thinking, and naturally writing. It was, after all, an English department senior elective. Finally, I had realized my dream of sharing with students the films of directors that I grew up watching as a kid in the movie houses of the Bronx, in the film society of my college, and in the art houses of Manhattan. I had spent 7 years writing a doctoral dissertation on Saul Bellow, a great writer whom I never taught. Yet here I was creating a course around favorite directors in a medium I had never formally studied, but that played a personal role in so many phases of my life. Directors like Chaplin and Wells and Hitchcock and Scorsese and Woody Allen, they were my culture heroes. Although I never encouraged any students to pursue careers as movie directors, which thrilled their parents, I didn't discourage them from studying film in college, something I never had the opportunity to do. So I will always be grateful that I did play a small part in the way media defined and enriched the education of so many students at MHS, as well as the impact it had on my own career. I want to thank an always supportive administration and a generous community of which LMC Media is a vital part, and especially the hundreds of students I have taught, like Fred Berger, whose passionate commitment to learning about film coincided with my own lifelong love affair with movies. One last thought. My heartfelt congratulations to Matt Sullivan on leading LMC Media into the 5th decade. Matt was not one of my students, and that's my loss. But in the brief time I've gotten to know and learn about him, it has become evident that he's not only a savvy business leader, but a true visionary who is more than capable of meeting all the new challenges facing media technology in the future. And if tonight's short film is any indication, maybe he'll be a budding documentarian as well. So thank you, Matt, and everyone at LMC Media for inviting me to your birthday party. Wishing you all many, many happy returns.
All right, one more, then we get to go, do what we're going to do after this. High school, for better or worse, are some of the most formative years we experience. My mother has a saying, people don't change, they only become more practiced versions of themselves. I like that. And if that's true, then it's incredibly important to have a strong foundation for our future and our careers. And I believe that those 4 years at Mamaroneck High School, under the wing of Mike Witsch, were some of the most formative years in the collective creative spectrum of our entire community. Mike, when I set foot into that video classroom a few years ago, my life changed in ways that I couldn't even begin to imagine. Your selfless approach to not just teaching your students, but encouraging them to try, even when we failed, was the platform on which countless media makers over the past 5 decades can rest their laurels. Your commitment to education and providing an equal opportunity for all students to be the very best versions of themselves is something you're both known and appreciated for. As I sat in the late hours of the night, scouring through old footage that we'll include in our Frank Light archive, something incredible stood out to me. Out of the hundreds of archive tapes, there was one personality in particular that kept showing up on my screen. And a pattern emerged. Not only did he educate thousands of students over the course of his career, but he was the voice of our community. There were faces that came and went in our community, but Mike Witsch, he's been in that spotlight for a lifetime, and he still is. And he does none of it for recognition or ego. He does it because he cares. He cares about people, he cares about community, and he cares about the truth. Always the first to volunteer to record a program, conduct an interview, or just be a spokesperson for LMC Media, he's the true embodiment of dedication. One of my favorite quotes is from Maya Angelou, where she said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And while we can't possibly recall every word from every lesson or project, I know, Mike, that I speak on behalf of a world of students who you made feel special enough to pursue our dreams and achieve meaning in our lives. Mike, it's been a great honor of my life to call you a friend, a mentor, and I can't think of anyone more deserving of this honor than you. So come on up, my friend, and get this award.
I'm trying to figure out why I was smiling at Mike DiGennaro. I think it was because I was having such a good time as a teacher down in the TV studio to have students like Matt Sullivan in my class and others who are here tonight. I'd like to thank the LMC board for giving me this honor. LMC means a lot to me. In my retirement years, and even when I was still working, I was heavily involved and am today and hope to be for the next several years. And I'd like to acknowledge the presence of some friends, my dear friend Carol West, who got excited about bringing Murray Avenue musical concerts onto LMC, and you remember her, some of you, as the Wicked Witch from LMC Trick or Treat on 36. That was our channel way back when. And my cousin John is, my cousin John is here with his wife Linda. My brother John is here with his wife Antoinette. And my sister Mary is watching at home, I hope. If not, I'll hear about it. And I was so pleased to see so many of my former students here tonight. I made a note so I wouldn't forget anybody, besides Matt Sullivan. Dave Gumpel, Michael Kammer is here, Mitchell Stern is here, Eric Berlin is here, Steve Cecil. Steve and David Gumpel came all the way from Florida, by the way. Andy Lazarus is here, and my good friend Warren Warkaiser is also here. And can you believe LMC is 40 years old? 40 years ago, our municipal leaders recognized the value of public education and government access channels administered and programmed by the community for the community. The franchise fees paid by the cable community paid by the cable company covered the operating expenses of a new independent nonprofit Larchmont Mamaroneck Community Television. At the same time, the Mamaroneck School District agreed to share the studio where I taught television production. I'd like to acknowledge at this point the people who helped me in my effort to be a good teacher. As Dave Golden was talking about principals and superintendents of school, I can't not mention Dr. Cal Schlick, who was the angel of the arts in Mamaroneck and a champion of media arts education, and the boards of education who worked with him and with me to support media arts education in the school, especially the TV program. Milo Dalby, who was an artist and media educator. Bob Geller, a Larchmont resident, who was my early mentor at the Center for Understanding Media. And Kate Moody, who wrote that book, Children of Telstar. Unfortunately, all of them have passed on, and I wish they were here tonight to see this wonderful presentation and to celebrate 40 years of LMC. So the partnership that we had, school and LMC Media, was a win-win. The MHS-TV studio was renamed the Community Television Center with brand new color equipment, extended hours of operation, teenagers and adults working together on each other's programs. MHS Info transmitted live from the high school into all of the cable TV households. Wow. A bustling community of producers, directors, writers, actors, journalists, and technicians. LMC Media is now 40 years old. Well, they say that life begins at 40. Today, LMC Media is a one-of-a-kind in Westchester County. Independent, nonprofit, non-commercial, programming those PEG channels on cable, but also accessible on your computer, tablet, and cell phone. Municipal and school board meetings, local businesses, church services, schools, sports, commencements, nonprofit organizations, interviews with local authors, artists, newsmakers, and much more. LMC Media has developed into a professional, trusted brand, a place to learn the craft of production or make your own podcast, get an internship, a head start on a career in the media arts. LMC Media connects, empowers, and informs. The future of LMC-TV, well, that's where you come in. With cord cutters, so the fees that we collect from cable companies have diminished, and we have to raise our own money, more of our own money every year. The Frank Light Digital Archive is certainly an exciting addition, as is our new studio that will open hopefully in a couple months right next door to the entrance to the Mamaroneck Cinemas. And we hope to refurbish our Town Center studio, and it's already been named after Sonny and Brad Goldberg for all their support. I know the Board of Directors is excited and committed to LMC's future, and I hope you are too. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mike. All right, we've arrived. Let's close this out. When Elizabeth Willing Powell asked Benjamin Franklin, "Well, doctor, what have we got? A republic or a monarchy?" Franklin's response was, of course, a republic, if you can keep it. I take this quote and I think about our community's great democratized experiment, LMC Media. Upon its founding in 1983, the leaders and visionaries of our community realized that media and communication were essential to a functioning democracy. And LMC was never just about media. It's about all the things you've heard tonight from all of our presenters. It's about connection. It's about empowerment, as Mike said. It's about giving everyone a level playing field. Because when we invest in LMC, we invest in our community. As a center for teaching and learning, as a center for highly accessible sources of local news and information, as a channel for communication and commentary about the issues that matter most to our community. LMC is an invaluable community resource. As Mike mentioned, cable fees, they're diminishing. Cord cutting, it's happening. We have to find other ways to support LMC. With the launch of LMC's new podcast studio, I believe that this is one of the many ways that we can continue giving back to our community, and we are so excited to welcome and introduce everyone when we have our ribbon cutting at the end of this year. Everyone in Larchmont and Mamaroneck, all residents, you have a platform, free to use. How amazing is that? Because everyone has their own unique story, and every voice in this community matters. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Elgart family for hosting us this evening in this beautiful cinema. This is an absolute gem of our community, and thankfully, they have restored this to, they've gone above and beyond. They've made it even better than it ever was. But we have to patronize this institution and keep it thriving. So the next time you're thinking about streaming a Barbenheimer type of production, come to the movies. We'd love to see you. And speaking of movies, we're really excited to announce that LMC will be a partner in the inaugural Mamaroneck Film Fest. That's just on the horizon, so please stay tuned for all that exciting news and information. I also want to shine a spotlight on the people who make this event and all of LMC's programming and organization possible, and that is the incredible, dedicated staff that works day in and day out to put on productions like this, productions such as the Vigil that we covered, and anything and everything in between. I like to say that they don't just go the extra mile, they go the extra 3 miles. It is an honor and a privilege to work alongside all of you as our staff, and I look forward to continuing that in the future. So please give a round of applause for the LMC Media staff. I also want to thank our board of directors, our fundraising committee, producers, volunteers, our small business sponsors this evening, and our community at large for all the support you've shown LMC for the past 40 years and counting. And of course, thank you to all of you here with us tonight. Thank you to those of us in our viewing audience watching at home, whether you're in Senegal, as I know someone is watching tonight, or around the country. We'd like to invite everyone here over to Nonna Carola, which is just to the left of the theater. And for all of you watching at home, thank you. I'm Matt Sullivan. Good night.